On the issue of national issues, you mentioned your idea of the wealth tax. Could you please explain this further to our audience?
Right, so I'm sure a lot of the audience will relate to this. For too long, we as British citizens, nationals, residents, we've been under heavy austerity that's been implemented by the Conservative government, especially after the pandemic. You know, we've been subject to, you know, high inflation rates, high interest rates, increasing cost of living, you know, the increasing cost of petrol. And this has affected all of us to the point where somebody who was on a decent salary and was considered middle class, you know, 10 years ago, would today really be struggling to make ends meet. In the wintertime, when we have to turn on the heating, we, just like many other British people, are having to decide whether we spend our money on food or on heating or gas and electricity. Why are we in this position? I mean, England's a very cold country. We turn the heating on till like April, May. Why is it that we're having to choose between one and the other? Are we living in a third world country? We're not living in a third world country. There is money in this country. It's just not being managed properly. And it's the hard-working people who are suffering the most. Whereas you've got these multi-billionaires, multi-millionaires, who are getting rich off the back of our labor, our blood, sweat, and tears. They're not the ones who are turning up to work at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock every morning and logging into the computer. They're not the ones who are, you know, working hard in the fields and in the factories. They're not the ones who are having to work a side job or a part-time job on the weekends, along with their full-time job, just to be able to help their family survive on a basic level. We're not being given our basic needs. Now, I'm not saying I'm going to make everyone rich. That's definitely not going to happen. But what I'm saying is it's time to stop putting more and more austerity on the poor and start turning it around a little bit and looking at the rich, right? Why are these people getting away with what they're getting away with, all their tax evasions and all their offshore sites? How about, instead of putting austerity on the poor, why don't we turn to the rich and say, every year we're going to look at your assets, how much wealth you have in terms of, you know, money in the bank and physical assets such as property, and we're going to take the value of 1%, just 1%, maybe 2% every year of your wealth, and we're going to put that into the treasury, and that's going to go forward to providing people better public services, more jobs. Now, I've not got all of the facts and figures on this because I'm not an economic expert, but one thing as an MP that I would love to do is commission this research to a team of experts who can find those facts and figures so I can argue for this in Parliament, because I believe it will work. And I believe, based on the minimal research that I've done, don't quote me on this, but I believe it is possible to even double the budget of the NHS. It's possible to increase the budget for schools, for public transport, for housing. We can provide more. We can generate more wealth just by taking a small amount from the rich and giving it back to the poor. And there are some people that will say, oh yeah, you know, these rich people are going to leave the country because, you know, they don't want to pay this tax. Well, let's be honest, okay? Let's say 1% amounts to £100,000 for them, right? For them to pay every year. Now, for us, that sounds like a lot of money. For them, trust me, it's peanuts. For them, £100,000 is like £100 to us, right? Now, they're not going to go and sell their £5 million house in Kensington and Chelsea just to avoid paying this £100,000 tax every year. And if they were to be that stubborn to actually try and leave the country with their wealth and take that wealth away from this economy, well, how about we put a 40% exit tax on there? So you can't take your wealth away with you. Not that much money. So I think if we were to do this and reinvest some of those funds into the working people, the ones who are actually holding this whole system from the bottom up, we can actually create a win-win situation, not just for the hard-working people who are, working class, but also for the wealthier people as well. And I believe that if we implement this tax revolution, I call it, properly, we can actually not only increase the money in the treasury and money for public services, we can also decrease, for example, income tax. Now, for me, it doesn't matter if you're earning 20 grand or 150 grand a year. If you're on a salary, you're a worker, right? And a lot of people on the left would talk, in a similar way to that I'm speaking now, but they want to punish the people who earn higher wages. I don't want to punish people who earn higher wages. I don't want to punish people who are in harder jobs. I definitely don't want to do that, because ultimately they're workers as well, and they deserve to get the money that they work for. But what I want to do is to take the money from the people who aren't working for it and give back to the people who are. So we can possibly lower income tax, we can possibly increase minimum wage, we can increase the tax-free allowance, we can lower the retirement age, we can increase pensions, we can create new jobs. And there are all sorts of things that I think we can do if we actually have a wealth tax on the mega rich. And I would hope to be given the opportunity to commission that research, so that the next time I speak about it, I can produce proper facts and figures to that end.